So it's another beautiful evening in the English countryside, and I'm soaking up the last of summer because it'll very quickly turn cold and rainy. But a video I've been wanting to do for some time, because there's themes of it that have run through a lot of my writing and the future books that will come out. And that's my journey with Santa Muerte. Where did the interest start, and how did she come to me? How did she reach out? How was I led to Santa Muerte? Well, are you ready? It's story time. Some of you have read The Haunting of Alejandra, and you know the story of Alejandra and what she went through with motherhood and marriage. And that story is very personal. And I wrote it when I was going through a really dark time in my life, and had this spiritual awakening. Rewind to that. Before that, I wrote Goddess of Filth, and I was really drawn to all of the Aztec goddesses. And I had this hunger and this thirst to write about the goddesses. And one of them was Mictexcihuatl. You just pronounce it correctly. And I then wrote The Queen of the Cicadas, and that whole book was about her. And then it kind of led into Santa Muerte. The more research I did, the more I meditated, the more I dug deeper into myself, my ancestry, what I wanted my life to look at and what look like, and what I was searching for on a deeper level. I was in therapy, and my therapist also was into like natural healing, and she really helped me, and the spirituality followed. But I was raised Catholic, then Southern Baptist, Pentecostal, and it all just left me empty, and I felt very oppressed, and I felt there was something very untrue about it. I didn't like the structure of it, or the mega churches. I didn't like the politics of the Catholic Church, and just in general, I'm not a fan of religion. But in Santa Muerte, I found someone who was understanding, accepting, finding brujeria and those practices, looking at curanderos. And it was just an evolution. It was an evolution that started in like 2016, when I knew something was really missing in my life. And if you've read The Haunting of Alejandra, then you'll get a better idea of that. And when you read Goddess of Filth and you read The Queen of the Cicadas, you'll see how dedicated I was to understanding these goddesses and the beauty in what they stood for. And it really bothers me when I see people on social media, especially these priests, preachers, or people who are so-called religious leaders, and they have zero respect for indigenous beliefs or practices, which were older than Christianity or any other organized religion. And so, you know, there was one guy who was saying how plant medicine is demonic. And everybody has their opinion. That's fine. But for me, it's brought peace. In Santa Muerte, I wanted to know more about her different robes, the colors, the meaning of the owl, the scale, and she represents death, which is all of our fate. Something we'll all experience. It's something that will touch our lives, with the people we know, and it just helps me fear it less. And the less I fear death, the greater I can live. I'm not fearing judgment. I'm not fearing I have to be perfect or I'm going to hell. That's not to say I'm a bad person. Okay? I don't need the 10 Commandments or the Bible or a man telling me what's right or wrong. And if you need someone to tell you what's right or wrong, I'm going to do another video on something that happened to me earlier in the summer, something very evil and insidious, and it was really traumatizing and traumatic. And if you guys followed me on IG or Blue Sky, then you know what it was. But I haven't gone into detail about it, but I know I was protected. And you know, Santa Muerte, you know, when I've done plant medicine before, I have felt this presence of her, the imagery, all of it, like, and for me, it just brings me peace, and it keeps me grounded in nature. It keeps me grounded in general. So Santa Muerte, she came to me slowly and through my writing, and I've written more and more about her. Just like, so for example, in Aliens Vasquez, Vasquez's daughter, Leticia, ends up having a Santa Muerte tattoo all over her back. Her whole back is Santa Muerte, which I felt was fitting going into space, battling xenomorphs, because my God, those are the jaws of death. And like I said, the Queen of Cicadas, this deity, the Queen of the Dead, the Lady of the Dead, who lives who keeps the bones, but she's not evil. She doesn't harm people. Now, in my book, she helps a spirit be reborn. She's reborn. And that's important to me. Rebirth, birth, death, and rebirth. Because the fact is, sometimes we need to die in this life. We need to die to bad habits. We need to die to bad relationships, to self-limiting beliefs. And Santa Muerte will do that. Take that scythe. Cut away what's not good in your life. Yeah. And then I'm working on 2 other projects where she's featured. So, yeah, that's kind of how the devotion began. It's just this slow evolution as I evolved as a person, as I evolved spiritually. And I sought to find more peace and be more authentic and just be more of myself. Accept myself, you know, accept my body the way it is, accept aging, accept have patience, which I'm not good at. Anyway, that's the story. And, you know, if you want to hear more about Santa Muerte, put it in the comments, subscribe. You'll get a lot of things about writing. And yeah, wishing you blessings and abundance, and most of all, peace.